Yo, I think I'm actually live. I am. There we go. I'm not. I switched platforms on this a couple of months ago, but I haven't done it enough times that I'm actually sure when I am live or when I'm not, which is exquisitely awkward for everyone every single time I do this. What's up? It's Andrew Hitz from the Entrepreneurial Musician. This is a TEM coaching chat. First thing is the next TEM book club, which is completely free, but it does require registration, is Sunday, May 1st at 8 p.m. We are going to be discussing Linchpin by Seth Godin. If you've listened to two episodes of TEM out of the 257, then you've probably heard me mention Seth Godin in two different episodes. I mentioned him almost every single week, and Linchpin is my favorite Seth Godin book ever. It's amazing. I cannot recommend this book any more highly. Go to tem.fm/book club and register. I do have a very limited number of slots available because I can't stand book clubs or panel discussions with way too many people. So go ahead and sign up, and if you for some reason get shut out, like hit me up. I might be able to make like an exception, but I like to keep book clubs small. So anyway, tem.fm/book club. We're going to talk about how Linchpin is applicable to all of us as musicians here in the year 2022. My goodness, is it ever applicable to us here in the year 2022? Okay, tonight I'm going to read just a very quick half-page thing from this incredible book from Derek Sivers, which is actually it's Sivers, I believe. Your Music and People: Creative and Considerate Fame. Derek is one of the most fascinating people I think that is out there putting out books and content. He's wonderful. This is titled "100 Actors on Stage." Imagine you're in the audience of a play and there are 100 actors on stage. Which ones would stand out? Which ones would you remember? It's not necessarily the loudest or most hyperactive. Maybe you'd be drawn to the woman with the long black hair, half hidden, standing silently at the edge of the stage. Now, you, as a musician, are one of the actors on that overcrowded stage. Would you stand out? Would people know what you represent at a glance? Be identifiable so that people who want you can find you in the crowd. And then in parentheses, though don't forget, the most memorable actor would be the one that talks with you after the show. I love this book. It is wonderful. This is a prime candidate actually for a future TEM book club. It's really great, and I just love how it's laid out. Like every one of these things is like you can just go and just read one. You can open it, read one page, and it is great. Just standalone. It also has good flow and is organized by sections. It's great. So I really like this analogy. The 100 musicians on stage. Of course, nowadays there's like a million musicians on stage, if you will. That is the internet. And how the hell am I going to notice you? That's the question. And I think it's important to put one more layer on this. Again, I like how the brevity of Derek's posts within this book. But to add another layer on top of it, you don't need to stand out to very many people, right? Because if you try and stand out to even just everyone who ends up hearing this little TEM coaching chat, it is not going to end well for you because it is impossible. Because there are certain things that I look for in a musician that other people will not, and you can't be everything to everybody, or you're nothing to everyone, if that makes sense. So you need to stand out, though. Like, what would people know what you represent at a glance? I think the best musicians that I've played with in my life have opinions. They have opinions how the music goes. They also are willing to change their opinions and have an actual conversation, but they have opinions. I think that your presence online needs to have an opinion. Your website should have an opinion. If it looks like everybody else's website in your corner of the music business, and if your publicity photos look exactly like everyone else's publicity photos, and the words, the copywriting that you use on your website or in your promotional materials looks like everyone else's promotional, you see where I'm going with this, right? then you're not going to stand out. You're not going to stand out to the people who want you, or who would be really into what you do and the art that you make if you stood out in the first place. So be identifiable so that people who want you can find you in the crowd. That's great. And I love the last sentence here is really important as well, though don't forget the most memorable actor would be the one that talks with you after the show. I think that that's really important. We, it is, there's not a single tuba player in the world who is high profile enough to only be broadcasting nonstop all of the time. If you, the example I always use is Pearl Jam, and actually my sister just got me a ticket to see them in September, which is going to be my first Pearl Jam show since 1991. I'm very excited because I had tickets also through her for March 2020, and that got canceled. But anyway, which was a minor price to pay in the grand scheme of things, but it was still on the not important list. Was pretty devastating. So I'm very excited. But if you tweet at Pearl Jam, like nobody's pissed that like Eddie Vedder doesn't personally tweet back at them, right? But the person who takes the time to respond online or takes the time to shake your hand in the lobby afterwards, or hangs out by the bar or by the merch table or whatever, that goes a really, really, really long ways. And so you got to stand out to be identifiable, but then you got to be a human being. Like people really want to get to know musicians and know artists, and that doesn't mean that you have to lay everything out there, right? It doesn't mean that you have to get super personal, although if you do, sometimes fans really dig that. I just think that that the more accessible that we can be, and in a genuine way, right? I think everybody can tell when you are when you're being edgy to try and stand out. That's not going to pass the sniff test. It's the same where if you're being approachable in air quotes so that people find you more human. It's like no, just be approachable. Just be an approachable person, and people are going to be drawn to you, and they are going to be drawn to recommending you to other people. Stand out because you have something to say that's worth standing out, not because some music business coach or some branding expert is like, you need to be a little more edgy so that we can sell 12% more tickets. That's fine if that's your thing. That's really highly commercialized. That is, the entrepreneurial musician has absolutely nothing to do with that. And there is, I'm sure there is a science to that, but I'm not looking to just squeeze a little bit more profit out of the out of the consumer chain personally. So be genuinely approachable. Be genuinely stand out from the crowd, but you got to do something to stand out from the crowd. The my number one advice to anybody who's looking to start a podcast, and by the way, starting a blog or a podcast or posting regularly to TikTok or to Instagram or doing live streams like this or whatever, is a great way to get your name out there. But the thing that's important is to have a point of view. You have to have a point of view, and it can't even just be interviewing really great people. My most recent interview that hasn't even been released yet, Allison M, who's just fantastic. There are going to be some people who, if I don't have any opinion, if I don't put myself into the interviews and into the show, then she's going to bring some people with her because she's got a fan base, and they're going to listen to her interview and they're going to like it because it's her, and then they're going to be gone, right? Now, if they come and if I have a point of view, some of them are going to not dig that point of view. Some of them are going to be like, we wanted to hear Allison talk for 95% of the time, and not 80% of the time, or 85, or whatever percentage she ended up talking in the interview. It was not 95% because I like to have a conversation. But there'll be a couple of people who are like, I really dig this. And so you've got to have a point of view about your music, or about teaching, or about pedagogy, or about higher ed, or about the music business. If you never step on anybody's toes artistically or otherwise, it's very hard to stand out. But again, to circle back for the last time, and then I'm going to keep this one short, is that you can't step on toes. I remember a nationally syndicated sports talk show host like 10 years ago, maybe he's still doing it, who had his like controversial take of the week, and it felt so forced just because like it's pretty hard, even if you're a talk show host, which your job is to have opinions. It's pretty hard to have like 52 like real hot takes like a year. And so a lot of them just felt very forced. And so I don't think that you can go out of your way to step on toes artistically, whatever the hell that even means. It just means that you have to have a strong enough opinion about what you play, how you play it, who you play it for, who you don't play it for, who you don't play, what music you don't play, what you don't program, what you do. What you don't do is just as powerful as what you do. And so you need to have some opinions, and then you are going to start getting a following. You'll also get some people who will for sure not come back. I am blessed to have both of those, and I prefer to hear from one more than the other, but I do hear from both. But you can't have one without the other. So stand out, be approachable, have an opinion, and just keep showing up over and over and over again. And that's my advice. I get into that, by the way, in TEM 257, which came out today, which is all about how you need to have the courage to get up on stage the first time, and then it's just all about repetition. And that is the simple but not easy formula for success in music, is to have the courage to do it the first time, and then just repeat, and learn from it, and repeat, and slightly course correct, and repeat, etc. So thank you so much for listening. Again, if you hopped on late, TEM Book Club, it's a really good one. Linchpin by Seth Godin. That's May 1st at 8 p.m. Completely free, but it does require registration. Very limited number of spots. You can go to tem.fm/book club for that. Don't miss TEM 257 that came out today. And also the Brass Junkies, I think it was 186 that came out today, was Dr. Bethany Weiss. Her session at the Brass Junkies tuba workshop. We did not talk a lot of tuba. We talked a lot of approach and philosophy to music and teaching. Is very interesting. I would be surprised if you're a non-tuba player and you go and listen to that and then you hate it and thought it was a waste of your time. Email me. I'll delete your email probably after only skimming it. I'm just kidding. You won't do that. You will dig it. I promise. She's got, as Lance said, she's got a big brain. Like she's very thoughtful, and you can tell that all the things that we kind of started digging deep on, that she had thought about all this stuff quite a bit in the past. And it was a great conversation between the three of us. At least I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. And that is going to do it for this TEM Coach